Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Engine Room podcast, brought to you as always by tokenmetrics.com. Look, we've got some team members who are out sick. We've got people who are busy with other projects. It's just me and a guest today. I want to welcome Mr. Adil Patel, who is the co-founder and CEO of MUDREX, to the show. Adil, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Dylan, for having me here.
So let's talk a little bit about MUDREX, because you guys just raised about $6.5 million quite recently in a pre-Series A. So you've already raised some seed money and you've just raised this, and now you're basically looking for a Series A in the future, yeah?
Yes, that's kind of sort of right. We're growing very, very fast. And that, of course, is attractive to a lot of folks. And as a result, this round.
So let's talk a little exactly about what MUDREX is, because
Correct.
it seems like your primary product is something called coin sets, and this is most instantly understood as crypto ETF. You
Correct.
guys maintain a collection of crypto. People buy into an index. Can you talk a little bit more about how that works with rebalancing and things like that? To what
Yeah,
extent is a human involved, and to what extent is a computer involved?
absolutely. So the idea is fairly straightforward. See, as crypto is evolving, more and more people that are coming in are the average retail trader or the average retail investor, I must say. And the average retail investor really doesn't have the time to pick and choose whether he should put in money in this token or sell this token and do yield farming there and so on and so forth. And the idea that works really, really well in the traditional markets to solve for something like this is just basically put in money in a thematic ETF. So we thought that this is an obvious problem, and as crypto expands, people will start looking for such products. And as a result, at MUDREX, we've taken the lead and have built out these products now. So at MUDREX, we call this ETF or this basket something called as coin sets. And we got different coin sets. For example, our flagship coin set is something called as crypto blue chip, which are the top
Uh-huh.
5 crypto tokens by market cap in order of market cap. But very similarly, we've got another coin set called as Metaverse, which is a top 10 Metaverse tokens, another coin set called as NFT, which are the top 10 NFT tokens, a coin set called as Exchange 6, which are the top exchange tokens, and so on and so forth, right? So I guess you get the gist. It's basically these thematic ETFs that we've created that you can invest in one click. The difference, having said that over here, is that for a user, it's literally invest as one click. You decide the amount, you put in that money, and what we do in the background is that we go and buy all of those tokens on behalf of you, keep it safe and secure in our secure wallet, and then we rebalance it every month as well. So let's say you bought a DeFi 10 today, and that DeFi 10 has uh, tokens A, B, C, and D. Next month, it might have tokens A, B, E, and G, right?
Mhm.
And their allocations themselves would be different. We decide these allocations on the basis of standard rules, which are either market cap based or they are volume based, and then those rules get applied automatically. So you as a user don't need to pick the coins. You as a user don't need to do the decision making of rebalancing. Everything happens automated by us on a monthly basis. Of course, you can do it
Right.
manually also if
Okay.
you want, but it happens automatically.
And I'm interpreting this as that, quite unlike something like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, you're holding all this crypto yourself. It's people are actually owning a slice of that pie, as opposed to
Correct.
investing in the people who invest in Bitcoin, if you know what
Correct.
I mean.
So the tokens are actually held in your own wallet on MUDREX, and as a result, when you liquidate, it just gets liquidated and converted back to USDC or USDT, and all of that visibility is just clearly shown to you in your wallet as well. And that's also a place where it's different, right? And to be honest, something like this could never be done in the traditional markets because you don't hold custody. Crypto allows us to literally give you access to all of this in like a real time basis.
So we talked a little bit before actually starting to record. What's your take on get rich quickly versus get rich slowly? It seems like MUDREX is a tool for getting rich slowly. Is that a fair way to put it?
Well, so the problem with get rich quickly is that you get poor quickly as well. And the only way to make
Okay.
long term wealth is to continue to grow steadily and to continue to grow that consistently over a long period, right? Like and like these things are now proven, and it's like almost proven market knowledge that the only way that you can make consistent returns and long term returns is just do the same basic things day over day again and again for the longer period. And I am a strong believer in the long term wealth creation. I believe that get rich quick, of course, has its downsides that all of us know about. And that's why we even on MUDREX, our tagline says "Stop gambling, start investing." We think that
Uh-huh.
a lot of people come into crypto for the 10x, 100x, 200x returns that some random shitcoin will give you over the course of 5 days. But that's where actually a lot of value is lost as well. We think that crypto as an asset class is growing at such rapid pace that everything will become crypto native in the course of the next 5, 10, 20 years. And in that case, a lot of value is still to be got into the picture. And Mudrex is there to help you capture that value over the next 10, 20 years or so.
Very good. Very good. So I understand that you and your team are based all throughout India predominantly, but you actually got this thing started in Stanford, California, as part of Y Combinator. How did you could talk about getting accepted into that program, please? Because
Yes,
that's a pretty big deal.
yes, absolutely. So we are actually a Delaware HQ'd company. We are a US entity. A lot of our team sits out of India and does all the operations from India, but we are, for all practical purposes, a US entity. Uh, we got into YC in winter 2019. So Jan, Feb, March 2019 was a batch that we were in YC, and it was a phenomenal experience. Like just going through it helped us a lot. In my batch, there were basically 7 crypto companies, and crypto was this obscure random thing that a bunch of geeks were doing in the corner. That's
Uh-huh.
basically how most people were treating crypto back then. But having said that, we've now evolved a lot, and the product has evolved a lot, and a lot of that is because of the feedback and the practices that we learned during that 3 month odd period at YC.
Did you? So how closely were you working with Sam Altman, for example?
We did see him quite a few times, but there were quite a few other people that we were working very closely with. So we were working fairly closely with Michael Sebel. We were working very closely with Shilin, who's the COO of Baidu and now head of YC China, and a whole bunch of other folks who were in our kind of sort of cohort and were responsible for our group and for our mentoring.
What if I could ask you to give a shout out to the other crypto companies that were part of your batch? What other kinds of up and coming crypto companies were you associated with at that time in YC?
Yeah, so I think one company that we worked really closely with, and the guys that we hung out a lot with, are the folks that get at Let's Deal. Deal, of course, is now a very different company where they help in contractorship and hiring people across the world globally. But at that point in time, Deal was a crypto company helping people settle contracts in crypto, right? So a lot of companies have evolved along that path. There was another company called as Multis, which has gone through its own evolution and is now a payroll management slash accounting management system for crypto companies, and that's also doing really well.
Gotcha. So very clear that your company's product right now is all about investing in a basket of varied crypto, even down to the specific sector.
Correct.
But to what extent does crypto picking play a role in your life? Are you any kind of crypto picker and investor outside of your own product? I mean,
Yeah, so to be honest, we started Mudrex because I was shitty at crypto picking, and and we realized that, like, to be honest, not just me, all of my friends were shitty at crypto picking too, and all of us spent those sleepless nights staring in front of screens, waiting for the prices either to dip so that we could buy, or waiting it to dip so that we could sell and just close off our losses and so on and so forth. And that's when we realized that day trading is like an art, and it requires insane amount of patience, and that is doable 8 hours a day when people are doing day trading in equities. But in crypto, which is a 24/7 market where things are so volatile, emotions inevitably get the better of you. So there needs to be some automated systems that you use to do investing, right? And
Mhm.
that was actually the kind of sort of motivation of doing Mudrex. And when we went deeper, we realized that broadly, all world over, people invest in 3 kinds of products. There are either market linked products, so which is essentially products like mutual funds, index funds, or coin sets, as we offer. There are market hedged products, which are typically hedge funds that only the ultra rich have access to. And then there
Mhm.
are fixed income products, right, which are effectively a debt mutual fund or a bank FD for that matter. And we think that as Mudrex evolves, we are going to build out products across the spectrum. Market linked is the most attractive and the one that's most easily understood by most people, and that's what we started off with, and hence coin sets.
Right on, right on. Could you talk a little bit about your definition of the word value? You teased that you had an interesting take on this. What's your stance on the word value?
Yeah, so I think let's actually go back, right, and look at how Web3 has what we call as Web3 and how the internet has evolved, right? So when we started off with Web1, we had these platforms like Amazon or Yahoo and so on and so forth that would just create content or products or services, and users would come and consume it, right? So the value was provided by the platform and was consumed by the user, and the user paid a fee for it, right? Like everything was hunky dory, well and good, and things were moving on along well, right? Then we enter into this era of Web 2, where we have Facebooks and Twitters and Instagrams and YouTubes of the world, where actually users were creating a lot of the value. They were creating the products, they were creating the content, they were creating the services. And on the other hand, users were consuming it, but the intermediary platform was capturing value, was actually monetizing it, and so on and so forth, right? And
Mhm.
in my belief, the reason why we are now moving towards Web3 is because this is the part that's broken. If a user is creating value and a user is consuming it and paying a fee for that value creation, why is the platform capturing that value? And as a result, why is the platform monetizing it? The user should be able to monetize it. Now, that value itself might be different, right? Like the value might be trust, which is what, let's say, Bitcoin and the entire mining
Uh-huh.
network and users who are trying to mine and secure Bitcoin provide value as. That Bitcoin might, that value might be compute, which is what gets offered on Ethereum. That value might be just someone giving you your money, which is what gets offered on Aave and Compound. And that value is what's changing now. And that truly is what I think that crypto enables us to do, right? And that's why I'm like a long-term believer in crypto, because it essentially helps us capture value, transfer value, and do this very seamlessly over the internet, which is where everything is heading.
Yeah, yeah, right on, right on. I want to quickly remind our audience that you're either listening to or watching this episode of the Engine Room podcast, brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. We are talking today to Mr. Adel Patel, who is the co-founder and CEO of MUDREX. Adel, let's very cool that you've got this existing ETF style crypto product right now, but I want to talk about a new product that you've got coming up soon. Talk to us about how we can get 14% interest on our crypto through you.
Great. So as I said, right, like people are either looking at market linked products or market hedge products or fixed income. And fixed income is actually where most of the world's money is. Like think about it this way, that most of the world's money is actually in government treasury bonds that are giving you maybe like a percentage over the course of the year. That's fairly shitty. What we are seeing across in the world of DeFi is that using protocols like Aave Compound, using yield farming, using yield aggregation, using investing in slightly more riskier products like AMMs and so on and so forth, we are able to generate a significantly higher yield in a relatively stable way. And to solve for that, we are launching something called as a MUDREX interest account, where the idea is that you put in your money, you give us the permission to be able to invest these money into these products, and across any of the tokens that you have, we should be able to offer you anywhere between 12 to 14% interest at relatively risk-free rates, where your capital itself is also preserved. We do this with all the expertise that we built over the course of the last year, working deeply into the DeFi ecosystem with folks on Polygon, with folks on Ethereum, and as recently as right now with folks on the Starkware ecosystem as well. And we've been able to consistently offer this, and now we are just batching it up and giving users access via the MUDREX platform itself. This product
Cool, cool.
actually goes live in a couple of days. We'll be launching our waitlist soon, and there is like an additional 5% yield that we're going to offer to our first 10,000 users. So we'd love to see you guys on that.
Cool, cool. Could you talk a little bit about how this compares to something like Celsius? It sounds like you're in the that 12 to 14% interest that you're paying out, that comes from returns that you're that on you're investing people's money and then paying interest based on returns. Am I hearing that
Correct.
correctly?
So let's actually, that's a great example. Let's talk about how yield gets generated today in the world, right? So on the one hand, there are protocols or platforms like BlockFi, Nexus, Celsius, and the way they work is you put in money over there, they lend out that money to someone else, just like basically a
Uh-huh.
bank. And the difference of the two is what they pay, right? In Celsius, what is happening today is that more often than not, and this is also true for Nexus, for BlockFi and Nexo, is that more often than not, this money is given to some centralized entity, and that centralized entity ends up trading, and there is a significant amount of risk over there because of this centralization problem, right? Uh, this exact part is actually done at a very good way on DeFi already, right? For example, there is Aave and there is Compound, where you give your money, that money is lent out to someone, which is completely collateralized, and then you earn a small interest over there, right? When Aave and Compound started, they started with 14, 15, 18, 20% yields, and that yield has now shrunk to 2, 3, 5% because those platforms and protocols have matured. Having said that, there are more and more and more such protocols and platforms that are coming, and we over the last year or so have now built deep relationships that help us get access to these protocols so that we can offer and do this kind of sort of yield farming or yield aggregation at a fairly large scale across different assets, and as a result offer this. So that's what MUDREX does. We look at the best opportunities available out there in the DeFi world, try and aggregate them, try and remove the risk by diversifying it, and then offering it as a product to our users. Simply put.
Yeah, very interesting, very
Yeah.
very
And
compelling.
we've actually listed down six different ways in which people can sort of six different ways in which users use DeFi to create these yields from a spectrum of completely risk free to relatively high risk, and then we've
Mhm.
tried to optimize the money spread across this so that your money is preserved but you are able to make the gains.
Cool, man. My last question for you, and then we'll see what happens after that. But my last plan question for you is: what's something that everybody in crypto gets wrong most of the time? What misconception about crypto do you find yourself having to clear up often?
Well, the one question that I get most often is, should I buy Bitcoin today? Or should I buy crypto today? Right? My answer to that always is that we are literally in the 1% explosion of crypto. And crypto is at a $1 trillion asset class and is going to go to 200, 300 odd trillion in the next 20, 30 odd years. So every single day is a good day to buy crypto. And so on and so forth. And that's the misconception that I have to clear out every day, that there is no such thing as, is this the right time to buy? The right time to buy today is always today, and a better time to buy it was always yesterday. But because you can't wait for tomorrow, buy it today.
So what's your take on Michael Saylor, man? He's basically bet his life's work that Bitcoin is here to stay,
Well,
and I don't necessarily disagree, but he's bet everything.
to be
Is
honest,
he crazy? Is he smart?
see, the important thing to understand is that you can only make, or you can only get outlier returns when you have unidirectional pointing bets, right?
Uh
So
huh.
I think he's smart because Bitcoin is going to grow. I've kind of sort of bet a significant amount of my life's worth into just doing MUDREX, which is a completely crypto company where the bet is that we are going to go ahead in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Whether that whether that bet is good today, tomorrow, or not is a time frame based question. And I think from a 10, 20, 15 years perspective, of course, it's like a great bet to do. And it's not only Michael Saylor, right? Like, there are thousands of crypto founders who are doing this exact same thing. They are betting their life's work into this crypto industry. There are actually hundreds of people who've actually done the same thing. Whether it's a smart thing or not, I don't agree with it. Simply because for long-term wealth creation, to reduce your risk, you should diversify and kind of to make sure that that diversification stays. But in the long term, I think it's definitely the right thing to do.
Well, super interesting. Thanks for an enlightening conversation, Adel. Appreciate you joining us on the podcast today. Let's wrap this thing up and bring this thing home. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video or listening to this audio podcast. You can find us on YouTube with the account name Token Metrics. Please give this video a like. Please don't forget to subscribe. We do this podcast 3 days a week. Adel was kind enough to join us today. Maybe we'll get you in the future. So from all of us at Token Metrics, thanks for consuming our content. Bye-bye.